Today is Wednesday, May 4, 2022, and it is 6:00 p.m. I'd like to call the meeting to order. This meeting is being recorded and videotaped by the Ways and Means Committee and GCTV 15. If any other persons present are doing the same, you must notify the chairperson at this time. Okay, I am not seeing anybody who's recording. We'll have a roll call. Councillor Jarvis.
Here.
Councillor Gisberger.
Here.
Councillor Healy.
Here.
Councillor Toronto.
Here.
And I'm Councillor Forgy. We have a full quorum tonight. Thank you. We have no approval of the minutes. We have no public hearing, and we have no motions. So we will move to the main part of our business tonight, which is the budget discussion for the operating budget for fiscal year 2023. If anybody's out there and wishes to follow along, you can view the mayor's proposed fiscal year 2023 budget in the budget book, but it's also online as well. Before we start our deliberations, I just wanted to mention a few things and get some feedback from the Ways and Means. From Ways and Means, I would like to know how you want to proceed with this. Would you like to just go in the order it is presented in the budget book? Is that satisfactory to everybody?
Yeah.
I think that would be the best way to go.
Okay, thank you. All right. Also, because this is deliberations, we are really going to have this discussion amongst ourselves. If we are stuck on a particular topic or whatever, we're going to reach out to whoever we need to talk to answer a specific question that we might have. But at this particular point, all the input has been received from the department heads and from the mayor and the mayor's staff. So without saying anything else, if this is okay with the rest of the committee, we'll start. And we start on page 67 of the budget book of the City Council is our first budget. What I would like to do is just ask people if they have any questions or concerns about the budget, if the budget looks okay to them, and we will just go ahead and vote each individual budget. I need to make a recommendation out to council. So is there anybody who has anything they want to say about the City Council budget? Jenny? Okay, go ahead.
I'm delighted that the mayor put in something for legal expenses, and I just wondered what the contracted services, I'm looking at this now, the contracted services and mileage reimbursement. We haven't used any of that in the past. Does anybody know, Councilor Forgy, have we used any of that?
As far as I'm aware, we have not used anything thus far. In our, I think you're referring to the 5711 line item that was for mileage and reimbursement.
5200 and 5712.
Okay. I see that Danny has her hand up to answer the question. So go ahead. Thank you, Danny.
Director Gilman also has her hand up, and I actually think she maybe should go first because she might say what I'm going to say, but more.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you, President Gilmore. Go ahead. Thank you.
Sorry. COVID put a damper in that, and usually council members would take turns going to the MMA meeting, and there would be costs for that. So they, especially the newer council members who wanted to go and get up to speed on things, but they haven't the past few years because of COVID. So I'm assuming MMA will go back into being in person.
And thank you, Director Gilman. And 5200 contracted services?
Let me see.
Have we ever used that?
Oh, have you ever used it?
Well, I mean, it's only been on for the past 2 years. I don't even know what it's for.
Okay. According to, and I do believe Kathy puts this in for you.
Okay.
Look
I'm looking through the contracted services, sorry. Parliamentarian. Payment for parliamentarian.
He's paid. I
Okay.
didn't realize he was paid.
Yeah.
And he has been?
Well, let me see.
In- in
That's
20
another sheet I have to go to.
In 22, it looks like he was. So this
Yeah,
year,
okay.
it looks like he was.
Good. All
Okay.
right. Thank you. Faster than me.
The question, I don't know if this pertains to your question, Councilor DeSorger, but do the members of Ways and Means think that they might want to reduce any of these line items, specifically the 6,500 for meetings? Councilor Jarvis.
Yeah, I think now that we're coming out of COVID, leave it in there. I mean, so people can use it. I mean, once we start getting back COVID restrictions start getting lifted, I'm sure that some of the members might want to start attending some of these seminars and meetings and stuff like that. So I believe that should be left in there. And just my thoughts.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
I'd be happy to have that, because to put it in half, that's just my thought.
Okay, Liz?
I believe, I wish Kathy was on here. I believe there's a certain amount per counselor that you're supposed to be putting in.
Okay, there might be by
Yeah.
charter.
Yes.
Okay, very good.
Okay. Okay, if everybody's satisfied with this budget, all in favor, please indicate, raise your hand by saying aye.
All right.
Aye.
All right.
Opposed? Abstentions? One abstention. Okay. And that's, am I correct? That's 4 of us and 1 abstention. Okay. All right, moving on. We are dealing with the mayor's budget. There are 2, let me see, we already ascertained the number of employees that are in the office, what they get paid. Last year, the mayor got $90,059, and this year the request was for $93,157, which is approximately a 3% pay increase. I do want to say that per the charter, which would be on page 11 of the charter, Article 3, we did remove a part of that charter recommendation, which said that the minimum annual salary for the mayor would be $70,000. That was the salary that I was paid. The next mayor received something in the area of 80 to 80, I'm going to say 5, something like that, 82 maybe. And then now our mayor, when she came on board, we negotiated the $90,000. The council has the authority to grant pay raises to the mayor. And at this point, she has asked for a 3%. So I will open that up as our first line of discussion. Okay.
All right, I'm raising my hand.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can't, there's so many people on, I can't see you all. So, okay, go ahead, Councilor DeSorga.
Okay, I'm taking this up as I didn't see anybody else had their hand up, but I did a lot of comparisons. I know this is just a 3% raise, but this actually, I guess we're going to go line by line, but this entire budget is up quite a bit from, it's up like 70%. That's from the year it went way back. That was in 2020. In 2019, the entire budget was 319, and now it's 434 with economic development. So I think that this needs to be looked at. And I didn't see that I think, but I understand everybody, I understand the cost of living. I just want to say that for the people who live here, I'm going to have a lot of questions on different things. The cost of living, going to the grocery store, it's really up. It's a lot higher. And so if I have something on several of them, it's because our tax bills are 21.09% of people's income, and the state average is 13%. And I think that everybody who's living here, including seniors, weren't getting a 3.4%. And it's very hard because we're all friends and I like all of you. So it's very difficult to have this discussion on television or whatever. But I'm having a hard time even talking about it, but it's hard because I represent a lot of people who are having trouble staying in their houses. So if I'm saying something about, I think this is too much, it's because I'm representing people. Like last year, everybody's assessment went up. And now we all know this year that the tax rate's going to go up, probably like 75 cents. And so that's going to make a big difference. And I'm thinking about the people I represent saying these hard things. And I think everybody in the whole world deserves an increase in whatever it is. But the question is what we could afford. So I'll be quiet.
Okay, I'm actually not going to recognize Danny or the mayor at this point. I appreciate you being there, but this is our discussion. Does anybody else have any questions or concerns or comments they want to say about this?
I do, Chris.
Okay, please jump in.
I guess maybe it's a little bit after the fact. I mean, I know that all of our discussions on this were very broken up into departments and jumping back and forth through the book. So, I mean, and kind of piggyback on what, maybe piggyback on, I don't want to put words in your mouth, Jenny. I think it would be an appropriate, we didn't have the breakdown of, and I know this came out in the emails, Jenny, about getting a better breakdown maybe for the future of every, tiered salary. Like, so, I don't know, i.e. the fire department or the police department or something would be like, this is the chief, the captains, the lieutenants, the sergeants, like how many are there and what theirs are, rather than a lump sum kind of, as far as salaries go. And I know that there are definitely things that are hinged upon unions and such. But with the non-represented, the NRs, I think it would be an appropriate step to, in this case, again, it's a difficult thing to talk about, but like, if everyone isn't getting the same kind of increase with NRs, then I feel like we should all be at the same page, so if everybody's getting a 1%, then there should be no exception to that. And I'm not saying it just for this specific thing, like, because again, maybe that's my bad. I didn't hash out as much of who was getting what. There's a lot of people there, right? But I think that at least should be something we look at, to make sure that there's just not an inequity in, regardless of who it is that's not represented by a collective bargaining agreement, to make sure that it's kind of on the same tier. If the city can only afford a 1% increase for such and such at some point, or 2% this year, then so be it. But to just not have the disparity between, and it doesn't even have to be, like I said, in this case, I know we're at the mayor's page right now, but even if the mayor was to take a 1% and then some other NRs are getting like a 3 or 4% or 2%, like whatever, I think it would be, at least in terms of equitable raises, because it's not, it doesn't base on COLA or anything like that. I don't know if I'm making, I'm hoping making that point clear enough that if it needs to be reduced because other ones weren't put up to the same level, then I think that we should reduce it. Or we should be looking at, for the future, like making sure that they're on an even keel.
Thank you. Councillor Jarvis.
Just finding my unmute button. I have to say that I was an NR, and I was an NR for 4 years, a little over 4 years. And part of that 4 years, I got 0 while other unions got a percentage raise. And during that, I didn't get as much as some of the union representatives got for a raise. I got a very tiny little bit just to get ahead of the highest paid captain in the fire department. All this happens behind the scenes. The council isn't privy to it. It isn't information for the council. It's not our place to bargain people's wages. I'd like to give a little analogy. Years ago, I went down to the Cape and an invite from Mike Wynn to listen to 3 of the smartest men in the fire field that I've ever listened to. And a gentleman, chief officer from LA said, I speak to every graduating class that comes through the academy. And my advice to them is that the normal hoblog about being a firefighter. But then he gets into, we run a business. We provide a service. Our service is to the taxpayers of LA. We need to keep our customers satisfied, happy. We need to be cordial and polite and treat everybody with respect, because at the end of the day, they visit us for their services. They pay our salary. They keep our business in operation. Now, when I got on the city council, I sat and I said, how can I always try to take other experiences and see how I can twist them to a new experience. So I said, how would that advice work as a city councilor in the budget per se? Well, I don't provide the service anymore, but what I think that I do is that now I am on the board of directors. And the board of directors review their operation every year before they appropriate money to their business. And they look at such factors are our customer base happy with what we're providing? All of them aren't going to be happy. All of them aren't going to be completely satisfied. But at the end of the day, is the majority of the people satisfied? Are we delivering what we promise? Then we listen to our financial people. Can we afford it? And then our financial people tell us, yes, you can, or you can't afford it. And we hope that we have smart people giving us smart advice, which I think we do. And we've got sound advice for the 3 years that I've sat on council. So I think that's my approach to it. I approach it like we're running a $58 million business. Are we providing services through every branch of the city, and are people satisfied? If so, then I think we need to continue to provide those services and at the level that we provide them. In doing so, it's going to cost money. It's going to cost money for the people providing that service to our customers, be it the customers are our taxpayers, and it's going to provide us, and it's going to cost us money to keep very smart, educated people in running those departments, providing those services. Everything costs money. That's my approach to it. That's my spiel. So maybe that'll be helpful later on down the road. Maybe it'll be helpful to other counselors, but that's how I kind of set myself up when I was a counselor to look at the budget and look at it kind of in a little step-by-step way. I don't know if it's helpful. It's just the way that I look at it. Thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Healy, if you're with us, do you have any comments you'd like to add?
I do not.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, well, we're going to vote. Before we vote, I will speak. It has been the past practice of a mayor, once the mayor is in office, that there is very little change to the mayor's salary. I served for 6 years at $70,000 with a $2,000 allowance for mileage. I can't speak for what happened during the Martin administration, but basically he got into the 80s, however that was. But I am still in favor of the contract that we put in place with the mayor for the $90,059. And I would like to see that maintained in this fiscal year as well. I think it sets a bad precedence if we give pay raises every single year to the mayor. It pushes that salary way up, and it's not, in my opinion, at this particular time, affordable for people in Greenfield. If this is the one line item we have the authority over, then I will not be voting in favor of the mayor's request for a pay raise. If everybody is ready, if you have any other questions that you'd like to talk about in this budget, would you please bring them forward so we can debate them by line item?
I have one more.
Okay, go ahead, Councilor DeSorger.
The 5200 and 5345, purchase of service and advertising. Those two line items have increased dramatically from fiscal year 21. It was 2,000. The first one was 2,389, and this year it's 17,000. I believe that we're making a new web page. I don't know if making the new web page, we're going to have to people that make the new web page every year. And the other one is the advertising, and I certainly could be wrong on the advertising one. That's more than doubled, and maybe advertising has gone up that much. But I have a question about, I'm not going to vote for the purchase of service one being that number.
Okay, when we make recommendations out to council at this point, it has to be very specific to the line items in the budget, whether we want to maintain them, cut them, reduce them. We can't increase them. So at this particular time, if people have a feeling about what they want to recommend, they should say that that's what I think we should do. And then I think we should vote that.
Right.
Okay. So just to say that you have a question about a line item at this point, I get that. But if there's something that you're not happy with or whatever, make a recommendation, make a motion, okay? Although we have to put together a group recommendation that goes out to council. But if there are line items that we want to see changed, I think we need to vote on those line items and then vote on the rest of that piece going out to council.
Maybe I just lost it in my notes. I do know we discussed this, but the 5,200 line Jenny's talking about, there was a reason why it went up so dramatically from 21 to 22. Is that correct?
The 5,200, the way I'm looking at it, it went up from 16,500 to 1,700.
No. I'm saying from 21's actual was 2,389, and then it jumped to 16,500.
I got it. Okay.
Was that what Jenny? If you remember, was that what Jenny was talking about with the new web page?
Yes.
And then I guess maybe don't let me put words in your mouth, Jenny. Is that going to be in perpetuity? I mean, I understand a one-time jump of 14 grand if you got to update a website or something like that, but then to have it at the same rate or even higher, it's not an upgrade at that point. It's just maintenance. So I guess just curious as well.
If I may, Madam Chair,
Go ahead, Councilor Jarvis.
I just have to know, is this gonna be the norm for the night? Is that we're gonna go back acts from fiscal year 19 to 20 to 21? I mean, most of these city councilors were here in 22 when we voted 22's budget. We're actually supposed to be talking about 23 budget.
Sure.
Are we gonna be bouncing back and forth to previous year budgets and dispute the increase in cost of materials and goods and supplies and throughout every budget? I foresee us going down that kind of a path. Just a question. Just wondering.
Okay, well, here's my response. This is part of our responsibility to see what the increases are from one year to the next. So I don't really have an issue with people, talking about, well, this operating year, our budget was X and now it's going up to Y. That seems to make sense to me, and that's a good starting point. The other answer to it is, I think it is our responsibility to look at pieces of this budget that don't make sense to us. If you're perfectly 100% okay with the budget, then you just vote. Why don't you just, what is the sense of us?
Madam Chairperson, I'm sorry you took offense to it. I was talking about going back to the previous 20 and 21 years, not last year's.
I am not, Councilor Jarvis, I am not taking offense to it. You asked the question in regard to something that another councilor was asking and bringing forward. So I think that it is valid for somebody to go back, and it is also valid to respect the other people and their questions. And I don't see why we cannot do this. If this is too time consuming, or if that's the issue, I'm sorry, I'm not taking offense. I'm trying to give everybody an opportunity here to go through this budget and make a recommendation out to council floor.
And I just want to point out, I don't have any information before 21 as it's not in the book here. I'm simply referencing what is on the information that we were provided in this budget book. And so I'm seeing actual, I'm seeing adopted, amended I'm seeing actual from 21, adopted and amended from last year, and then the request and the mayor's request. This is only a 2-year look back. I would like to know the numbers actually from 19 and 20, but they don't go back that far. There's not 5 years, and it would be a good comparison.
Councilor DeSorger.
I have a question and a comment. I have a comment first. Because I am not going to do this for every line item, just so everyone can take a deep breath. I have probably about maybe 12 or 15 line items that I'm going to question in the entire budget. But on this particular one, I actually have a question for Director Gilman. I actually am in favor of a new webpage. Just for everyone's information, I think it will be delightful. Not to be difficult, but to take care of business. I want this done. I want to know if we've paid anything. And the thing is, we get a budget book. We don't get to see what was done, and we don't get to see what was billed. If this is what is needed if we paid something this year, last year, in the last fiscal year. Oh, somebody has their mic on that will wish that they didn't. I think it might be GCTV. GCTV, your mic is on.
Excuse me, somebody's mic is open, and I don't think you want us to be privy to what is being said.
Chris, you might be able to mute him since you're the host.
I just don't know who it is. Let me see.
It's one of the city council hosts ones.
Yeah, it is. Okay, so okay, that's good. Thank you. Thank you, Sheila. I'm sorry, Councilor DeSorger, go ahead, please.
So I just wanted to know if we It was 16.5 last year. And this year it's 17. What did we pay? Last year was their leftovers, turnbacks is what we call them. And is it going to be just a one-time thing and then we can go back to the 2,389? I'm not spending my money. I'm spending the taxpayers. That's why I'm asking, just to be clear to everyone.
So I'm also going to recommend that you speak with either the mayor or Danny on this because they are dealing with the website. But last year, as you said, we only had, oops, I lost it, 2,400, I believe.
Just under.
3,000 was the budget and 2,389 was spent. This year, yes, some has been spent towards that. The problem with, I do send out year-to-date expenditure reports. The problem is the budget reports, and this was voted on, and maybe this you want to revisit, but there's only certain formats in the budget reports that are exported, and if you wanted certain things, you couldn't get year-to-date and last year, this year. So I'm just saying that was the report that was chosen by Ways and Means that they would like to see. And you can revisit that. You can look at the reports and say, you know what, I really would like a different one, but I'm just going to say not everything is all in one of the options. So yes, I do believe it is the website. And the only other thing I would mention too is while you're going through line by line, and I understand you want your rationale for a reduction, you're actually making a reduction to the expense line in total. So you're only voting salaries and expenses.
Correct.
Your rationale can be, I'm reducing this line and this line, but you are voting salaries and expenses.
So Liz, I guess I'm looking for a little guidance at this particular point. Perhaps we need to smooth out this at this particular juncture. When we make recommendations of what we want to see cut or not cut, at this point, how do we vote that bottom line budget?
So if it's more than one account number that you're looking at that you would like to change, then you're going to change the sum of those numbers on the expense side. So let's say you're saying contracted and advertising. What you want to reduce each of those by, you're going to reduce the expense line, and that's what you're voting.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah.
And then I think there's a follow-up response maybe from Danny or the mayor in regard to the question that Councilor DeSorger had.
You want me to go or do you want to do it? You're muted, Mayor.
Either one of us is fine. I'm certainly happy to begin the conversation if you have further questions. If Danny has information that I've forgotten and you would acknowledge her, then that would be fine. What you're looking at in that particular line item, all line items for that matter, with the exception maybe in FY21 of the salary line items. But the FY21 budget was the first budget that I created from scratch, so to speak. It was built off of the previous budget, but we had goals for this department that included marketing the city of Greenfield outside of the city of Greenfield. If we're ever going to grow, if we're ever going to attract business, we have to get our story out there. The first way we chose to get our story out there was to modernize, to bring a more user-friendly website to our city, to our users, the taxpayers, the residents of Greenfield, and then to showcase all of the great things in Greenfield in a more modern way. And so, yes, the bulk of what you see there for FY22 is the website, and the increase of $500 is an increase in purchase of services. That could be a branding effort for the city of Greenfield. It's simply reflecting what we believe would be the potential for an increase in costs based on what we're seeing in every other goods and services out there. So that increase is actually $500 above the year before. And there will be ongoing maintenance of the website, and there will be hopefully an opportunity to begin to do some branding efforts for the city of Greenfield to present us a unified image. We've done this often. We've done it with our wayfinding signs in the previous budget. So that's the explanation of the increase. I would like, if I may, take this opportunity, and I appreciate it. I do have good information to help Councillor Tarunzo. Every NR received a 3% increase.
Okay.
There's three people who are NRs for whom the mayor negotiates salaries that could be above and beyond the 3%. It isn't usually, and that 3% was this year, and it was based on a chart that you asked for and you received, which was what were the increases over time for each of the NR pieces. And so you received that from Danny, and she can address any questions you would have on that chart. But it showed that many years NRs received 0, other years they received 1%. The last 2 years, so FY21, FY22, NRs, these are the people that run the departments that are responsible for them, and that includes the mayor, is responsible for the whole city, and those department heads. That increase was at long last a 3% increase, which is considerably lower than nearly all, if not all.
Mayor, excuse me, please. I'm going to stop you right now because the question that was asked was the one about the
Purchase of service.
new website design.
And I answered that, but I wouldn't want Councillor Tarunzo to make a decision based on what was really faulty thinking. It wasn't his fault.
Mayor, please. Okay, I'm going to ask you to refrain at this particular time. Thank you.
I have an answer about the purchase of service specific to the website, if the chair would want me to explain or not.
Councillor Jasorga, what do you want?
I would like to hear what Danny has to say.
Yep, go ahead.
Okay, while you guys were talking, I looked up so this isn't exact because this was the initial contract in a quick search of my email. So keep in mind that the website design is going through this particular fiscal year and will cross over into the next. It'll probably be done best case scenario and launch around September 1st. And the initial contract was a little over $15,000. And that's without unforeseen obstacles. So we'll probably use up our entire 16.5 from fiscal 22. So that's the answer to the question about the thing. And that would be with doing almost nothing else in terms of marketing. Just to give you the info.
That was the difference in doing that upgrade, like to do
the initial contract, and this is the one I found that's the earliest contract that was signed last year for the new website that we're really almost a few months from launch, was $15,000-ish. We haven't paid all of that. I was just looking what the total will end up being. So there are little pieces that come up where they might go up or down depending. So that's your ballpark. It may end up being closer to the 16.5. That would take up the entirety of our 5,200 line. without anything else.
Right. I mean, if I may, Chair,
Sure.
um,
Please go ahead.
that was kind of like my in perpetuity question was if in previous years or I mean, at least the one that I can see here, we did whatever fell under the blanket of purchase of service for just shy of $2,400. I can understand, like, with a radical change, like an upgrade to a website, to a service like that, you know, a kind of like a one-time thing, it being a drastic increase. My question was, though it's only a $500 increase from what was adopted and for this current fiscal year, if we're not doing another upgrade on the website, then where would that 14,000 and change disparity be?
Yeah.
Rather than, you know, it dropping back into more of like a maintenance kind of piece or a.
I can answer that too, if you don't mind. It's really, actually, it's a question for the council then. What is your priorities? I said this to people all the time, that I feel like we're building this city from scratch. I talked to you guys at last Ways and Means about how we don't have budgets for furniture. We just pilfered a chair for a new employee from another office. So yeah, there are other priorities that the purchase of service line could pay for in terms of marketing, upgrading. I mean, you guys know how long it's taken to do the hybrid and to do different things. I mean, we are building a city from scratch with, I'll probably get shut off, but in my opinion, you know, a decade of suppressed budget lines for some of these things that are modern things that a modern city should have. So it's really about the priorities. If you guys wanted to cut that means there won't be things to do. That's all. So we won't be able to keep going.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions on the mayor's budget? Okay.
I guess just Chris, just one comment, and I know that you kind of put it to bed. But just to clear up, my question about the NRs wasn't department dependent. It was blanketly dependent. And I know that we have more than 3 in the whole city. And so that was kind of where I was coming from, was just as food for thought. That's all that I was saying.
Thank you, Councilor Toronto.
And ours used to follow the S schedule, and then at some point that stopped. So we used to get the same rate, we meaning the people before us, used to get whatever the S union negotiation was. That stopped sometime in the previous administration. I apologize, Councilor Forty.
It's okay. Are there any more questions? Okay, so we have to take a vote on this bottom line, whether you're in favor of this budget or not. I think that's the way we need to pass it on to the council. So I'm going to do a roll call just because I'm having trouble seeing people. So if that is okay with everybody on the committee.
Just a clarification, Chris.
Sure.
Since this one is broken into, as Liz alluded to, the wages and then expenses, are we voting on these independently or as a whole?
We're going to vote as a whole on the recommendation going out to the council. And for instance, this is no different than when we did our capital, and we make a recommendation and we say how many in favor, how many opposed, how many abstained. And then it goes out to council that way, and then it gets deliberated again.
Right. I was just clarifying that because like on the last part, there was only expenses. Correct me if I'm wrong, Director Gilman, you were saying we can make reductions to, i.e., in this case, wages, and we can make reductions to the total of expenses as individuals, even though we can't particularly say which. We can say, but not directly exclude. We can't say like this one line item of the 5 that are of expenses. We can't say that. We have to come off the total, just as we have to do on the total wages. So that's why I was asking, can we make a recommendation on each of these wages and then expenses, or do we just have to do it on the total of the department?
Oh, it's wages and I'm assuming I'm being asked.
Yes,
it's wages and expenses.
So we can do an individual recommendation
a recommendation for wages, a recommendation for expenses, grand total X.
Okay, gotcha.
No?
Okay, is everybody ready to vote? Like a roll call, we'll do wages, total wages on the mayor's budget. That number that's requested by the mayor is $229,925. All those in favor, so indicate aye.
Aye, Jarvis.
Thank you. Opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Counselor Healy. Counselor Healy. All right, Counselor Healy explained at the beginning of this meeting that he was going to be taking 2 calls this evening, one this piece of business and one another piece of business. So if he did not respond, I don't know how we count that. I would just go ahead and say we had no response on that vote. All right, so 3 opposed. Okay. Counselor Healy? No, he's not on.
I did see in the chat that he had written about 20 minutes ago that he was up in another meeting. He'd be back soon.
Okay, thank you. I think I don't know what to do, except I think we just have to move forward. Okay, now the other is the total expenses of the mayor's budget, which is now $27,827. All those in favor?
Aye, Jarvis.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, 3 ayes. Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay, 1 opposed. Okay, we move on next to executive administration. Executive administration has a total line item for wages of $81,456. And they have a total expenses of $600. Is there any discussion on this budget? Okay, hearing no discussion. All in favor of a wage figure of $81,456, say aye.
Aye, Jarvis.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we've got 4 of those. Okay, anybody, all those in favor of the $600 expenditure line item, please? Aye.
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 Any opposed or abstentions? Okay. We next move on to community and economic development. For the total wages in community and economic development, we have a recommended of $70,593. Total expenses, we have recommended $24,250. Wages, is there any question on wages? As was explained to us, that there is a lot of grant funding that comes into play here. And there are positions that are funded by Small City Block Grant and other small grants picked up along the way. And then there is a portion that the town contributes and pays to this department as well.
Counselor
Councilor
Forgy,
DeSorga. Councilor DeSorga.
under the wage line on line 5112, this is under the actual wage line. There's expenses that went from 10,621 to $19,074. And below that, there are the expenses. So I'm not comfortable going from 10,000 up to 19,000 because it's expenses and expenses. I'd like to leave it at 10,621.
Okay.
It is a weird
there-
thing to put expenses under wages.
Well, I believe it's listed this way because it comes from, again, I believe it's matched with grants.
Hmm.
And so and that they have another part-time person that's in there at this particular time. Is that anything, Liz, do you want to, I see Danny just shaking her head yes as well. Danny, do you want to just explain that, or Liz, whatever? Thank you.
Yeah, there is a part-time person. The economic development director is funded 60% in the general fund, and the other position was funded 50%. So it's just a question of if that person's going to be reduced, can the grant absorb the difference? I just want to make that point.
Okay, okay.
But did that come under the 5112 expenses part? Or would that be under the 5111?
5112 expenses, well, the number to me means that it's a part-time salary and wage. The title itself, I think, is misleading.
It is.
Right.
Because it should be part-time
Salary and
wages.
part-time, right?
Yes, that's what it should be. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, personally, if that's what it's for, then I don't have a problem with that, because if it were for the part-time wages, a lot of them do say part-time wages.
Yes,
We do.
it is. It's and the number is what tells me this, Councilor
Right.
Toronto.
Because that's what the rest of them show up as, the salary and wages part-time. Right.
That's correct. Right.
Yeah. So if
Okay.
it's off of a typo or whatever you want to call it, like, then, but we know that that's what it's ascribed to. I don't see a problem with it.
Okay. But we're going to vote on this, and so
Madam Chair, if I may, could you just remind people not to type into the chat, because we have a lot of typing in the chat that aren't coming from the board, from the council members on this board. If you see what I'm pertaining to
I
in the
do
chat.
see what you're talking about, and thank you, Councilor Jarvis, for bringing that to my attention. I will ask right now if everybody refrains from using the chat. There really should be no reason for anybody using it this evening, because we are not taking public comment. And people that we need to talk to, we will talk to, as I explained at the beginning of the meeting. So again, anything that appears in the chat is really inappropriate, and it's really prohibited under open meeting law. You're just sending that out in writing, and other people are not seeing it or seeing it. So please, please refrain from using the chat.
So just a clarification on that, this is a position that is listed under expenses, correct? Is that the way that I'm hearing it?
It's a typo in the budget book. It should.
Okay, very good. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure I understood it right. Okay, thank you.
Okay, but we are voting on this, so we're going to vote, and then I know Councilor DeSorger has a different opinion of this, so let's just vote, and we'll see what the outcome of this is. So on the wage item of $70,593, that's the proposed. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Healy, I don't think you're back with us yet.
I'm going to abstain because I just got back.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we are moving on to total expenses, which is $24,250. Is there any discussion at all on that line, on the line items of expenses? If there is none, then I will ask for a vote. All in favor of $24,250? So indicate aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye. I'm in favor.
Okay. All right. That's unanimous. Okay, we are moving on to Assessors Department budget. The salary and wages in the assessors department are $133,129. Is there any discussion? We have just hired a new assessor. I know that we have. We've seen it in the newspaper. It's great news for our community. Okay, no discussion. All right, everyone in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Right.
Okay, that's unanimous. Now we go down to total expenses in the assessors department. That figure is $85,190. Is there any discussion on any of these items? Okay, if there's no discussion, we'll take a vote. All those in favor of the figure $85,190 for total expenses, please indicate, raise your hand, say aye.
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 Okay, opposed, abstentions. Okay. We're now into the accounting department budget. The total wages and finance and accounting budget is $269,126. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none. We will take a vote on that. All those in favor of a total wage line item of $269,126 indicate by raising your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, total expenses for the assessors department is $146,516. Is there any discussion? Okay, if there's no discussion, all those in favor of $146,516 is total expenses in the assessors, please so indicate. Aye.
Aye.
Counting.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Reserve fund transfer. Reserve fund transfer is on page 76. We have a total expenses line item of $75,000. Is there any discussion?
Discussion?
Okay, Councilor DeSorga.
I'm definitely not in favor of this. We've done this every year. We put the 75,000 into reserve fund. And then we don't use it and it comes back, and what we actually get out of it is free cash. We have $5,603,418 in stabilizations. That's excluding the school stabilization funds. I certainly think that we have money to pay for things if need be. And it's actually why I'm questioning some of the things, because I look at the amounts that we have come back in free cash, and I think that we know that we're not going to spend that. So I'd strongly encourage my fellow councilors not to vote for that.
Is there any other discussion? Does anybody have questions? Okay, we're going to take a vote. All those in favor indicate by raising your hand, saying aye. Opposed?
Aye.
I will abstain. Next, we have our city audit. Our city audit is a total line item expense of $60,000. As an aside, this is something we're required to do by law every single year. We just received, there has been some correspondence at this particular point saying that we need to get ready to, pick a vendor and get that process started, because everybody will be competing for the same vendors at this point. So, total expenses, $60,000. Is there any discussion on this?
I have discussion on this.
Okay, go ahead.
It's $60,000. And I actually have done a lot of work looking at other towns for the things that I was bringing up. East Hampton puts $25,000 into their budget for an audit.
Regional school.
And, but there was a similar size city that did more. And I know that we actually receive, like GSET sends 5,000 or 4,800. CDBG sent 5,000, I think, for part of that. And I did read also that it's going up, but I think 50,000 would be sufficient.
Okay. Is there any more discussion? Okay, if there's no discussion, let's take a vote. All in favor of the $60,000 amount, indicate by saying aye.
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 Okay. And opposed?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Treasurer tax collector is next. You'll find it on page 78 of your budget book. The total wages, $183,132. Is there discussion on total wages for the treasurer collector? Okay, if not, we'll take a vote. All in favor of 183,132, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Okay, it's unanimous. Any abstentions? Okay. And then the total expense line item for treasurer collector is $77,760. Is there any discussion on that part of the budget? Okay. Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate aye.
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 Okay, any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Now we have the legal line item. We have this in total expenses. It's divided between labor relations and bargaining and labor special litigation. The total budget for expenses in the legal labor line item is $95,000. Is there any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, we're good on that. Now we have town attorney services. The total expenses there is $100,000. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed or any abstentions? Okay, that's unanimous. We have tax title. Tax title is next. That's total expenses of $67,500. That's on page 80 in the budget book. Is there any discussion? All right, seeing no discussion. All those in favor of $67,500 for tax title expenses? Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? That's unanimous. We have human resources next. Human resources total wages is $228,559. Is there any discussion?
Discussion.
Please go ahead, Councilor
Here's
DeSorga.
what, this is one of my other ones that I looked at comparatively, which I
Okay.
think is something that we should be doing. I'm only going to give two. Ludlow's got a population of 21,233. Their HR budget was 149,181. East Hampton, with a population of 16,500, their HR budget was 112,394. And additionally, my other comment was, I have heard that some of our employees who are no longer working here haven't been removed from health insurance, so we're paying premiums for people who are no longer here. So I'm not going to be voting in favor of that. I think it should be reduced.
I just, if I may, Counselor DeSorger, I'm
Yes.
just going to throw out a partial idea about that.
Okay.
When employees leave, they're entitled to carry their insurance for a certain period of time as long as they self-pay.
Yes, I had that happen after myself personally having
Okay.
had back
So just-
surgery. I understand that. But I'm not sure that we have somebody who's reconciling every single month to make sure we're being billed correctly. So I have a problem with this one.
Okay,
And I don't want us to lose any funding.
okay. All right, is there any more comment on this one? Okay, we will take a vote on this. Total wages for human resources of 228,559. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Me, aye.
Thank you. Going down to total expenses of 21,008.
Chris, I was just wanting to point out I was abstaining on that last one.
Oh, thank you. I'm sorry. Again, I apologize. It makes it difficult. So,
Mhm.
1 no, 1 abstention, 3 in favor. Okay. Thank you. Total expenses, 21,887. Any discussion about expenses and human resources? Okay. If I'm not hearing or seeing anybody. All those in favor of 21,887 indicate by saying aye.
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 Thank you. Any opposed? Any abstentions? It's unanimous. All right, technology is next. We have a total wage line item of 252,053. Are there any discussions about that line item?
I have a comment.
Okay, go ahead,
That
Councilor.
we're definitely in line with other municipalities there. There are others that I did about 8 towns, and that's a very expensive. Okay, I'm voting in favor.
Okay. All right, all those in favor of 252,053? Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, abstentions? It's unanimous. Total expenses for the technology department, 370,065. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please indicate. Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, city clerk. City clerk, total wages, 152,175. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. Total expenses for the clerk's office, $14,175. Any questions on expenses? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, elections. The total wage line item in elections is $22,300. Any discussion?
What is that?
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Total expenses is $7,360. Is there any discussion? Okay. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? All right. We are now on to registrars. total wages for registrars is $3,500. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. And the total expenses for the registrar's budget is $14,000. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Next into let's see, I'm sorry here. Licensing, yeah. It's on the bottom of page 90. We have total wage line item of $38,673. Are there any questions, comments? Okay, all those in favor, please so indicate. Aye.
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 Okay, any opposed? Okay, any abstentions? We're good. Okay, then we have total expenses for licensing. That's $950. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
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 Okay, opposed? Abstentions? Okay. Planning Department. Planning Department, total salary and wages is $104,753. Oh, sorry, $752. Okay. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Jen. Aye.
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 Okay, opposed? Abstentions? All right, on total expenses for Planning Department, $10,600. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, any abstentions? Okay. Conservation Commission. All we have are expenses there. The expenses are $600. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Abstentions? Okay. It carries. Planning Board. Planning Board is total expenses of $600. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Then we have the ZBA, the Zoning Board of Appeals, total expenses, $600. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. We now have Central Services. Central Service total wages is $70,487. Is there any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? All right, total expenses is $238,820. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. That was Central Maintenance. No, that was Central Services. Now we go into Central Maintenance. Central Maintenance, salary and wages, $430,544. Is there any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. And then we get into the, let's just say, well, okay. Total expenses of central maintenance. $126,312. Is there any, we just make sure. Yep. Is there any discussion about this? Okay, all those in favor indicate aye.
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 Opposed, abstentions. Okay. Energy and Sustainability Department. We have a total wage line item of 100,185. Are there any discussions? Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right. Total expenses is $838,350. Is there any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right, we're good. Police Department. Total wages line item 3,539,163. Is there any discussion?
Me.
Councilor DeSorga.
This is tough. This is a tough discussion, but I would like to say it's one that many municipalities are having. And I'm not comfortable actually speaking about it, but I'm doing it anyways. Even in Pittsfield, where there's a lot more crime that we were having, I feel that the wage that I sent out to Ways and Means, which went to Ways and Means, I have a lot of information to back up what I'm saying on this, but and I don't have all the information, but I had a lot of information, and we are very high in this budget, and it affects. They certainly do a great job in this municipality. I don't have a complaint about that, but it's a line item that is not in line with other municipalities, and I think it should be reduced.
Okay. Is there any other discussion on the salary and wage item? Okay, we are voting on 3,539,163 salary and wages for the police department. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And opposed?
Me,
Okay.
aye.
Are there any abstentions? Thank you, Ginny. Okay, we are going on to total expenses for the police department. That is $299,938. Are there any discussions?
Me.
Go ahead, Councilor DeSorda.
Like I said, this is very difficult to bring up, but just on the clothing alone, that is not in line with other municipalities, even some that are larger than us. I know that we are contracted by contract to provide uniforms, and I do not know, and I would love to be enlightened with that, if the clothing allowance is also, if that was put in a contract, okay. So that is a comment that I had.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, is there any more comment? All right. We are voting on total expenses for the Greenfield Police Department. It's $299,938. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Me? Aye.
Thank you. Okay, we are moving on. Fire Department. The total salary and wages of the Greenfield Fire Department is $2,680,520. Are there any discussion? Is there any discussion on this figure?
I have a discussion.
Councilor DeSorga.
I'm voting in favor of this. I would like to point out that in my research, which I'm not going to bore you all with because you probably don't want to hear, but I'm happy to send it to you. We are way under on what we have in other municipalities. I'd be happy to recite it, but I'm looking at all of your faces and it doesn't really look like you are interested. So I'm not going to do it right now, but it's too bad. I've done an awful lot of work.
So if I may, Ginny, just as an aside, I think you'll have the opportunity to talk about this on council floor.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Okay, we're taking a vote on total wages for the fire department, $2,680,520. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Okay, we are now on the expenses, total expenses for the Greenfield Fire Department. That total number is $236,400. Are there any discussions on that? Okay. If none is coming forward, then let's vote. All those in favor of the budget, $236,400, indicate aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, we are now with emergency 911 dispatch and emergency communications. The total wages for, I'm going to refer to it as dispatch, at this point is $721,641. Is there any discussion?
Me.
Go ahead.
Aye.
Go ahead.
I think this is a very hard job to have. This is another one that I found is not in line with other municipalities. And I'm actually not going to, again, I'm looking at faces, and I don't think that you are wanting to hear what I had to say. So I'm just going to say it's above what it is, and I would like us to keep it at where it was last time. I know that we were having a hard time keeping it. And many other municipalities had 10. And I'll just say to you that East Hampton's their budget was 326,531, and Needham, where I came from, with 31,000 people and a budget of over, wait a minute, we're 57 million, so it was 2 billion. Or whatever. It is at least four times where we were. Our dispatch budget was higher than theirs. So I'm a no.
Okay. Any more discussion? Councilor Healy.
I just want to say, Jenny, I do appreciate all the research you're doing, and thank you for bringing it to us. It's not that we're not interested. We definitely are. So anything you have to say, feel free to say it. I want to hear it. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, well, if you want me to tell you anything, I will. Do you want me to go forward and tell you what other people paid?
I would be interested in this because
Okay.
I thought the number did go up quite a bit.
All right. So Maynard's dispatch, they had a population of almost 11,000 and their budget was 295.
Mhm.
Needham's dispatch was 759,808. East Hampton, I told you, Ludlow, with a population of 21,233, had their dispatch was 509,603. And Gardner, with a population of 21,287, their dispatch was 775,338. And North Adams didn't have one. And I took into account all the overtime and the whole thing. Just so you know, I wasn't letting anything out.
Thank you. I do find it kind of interesting that it is a large increase, and I'm wondering, are we servicing other communities? Is there a reason for that large increase? You know?
Danny, go ahead.
Yeah, so this is primarily salary and wages. We negotiated this year with dispatch, and they got a large increase because we also did a comparison of neighboring communities, and we were underpaying people. We were paying way less than our peer communities and losing people.
Okay.
We were down to 4 dispatchers earlier during the pandemic.
Would you be willing to share that data with the council?
Yeah, I believe we did, but I can send it to them again.
Okay, thank you.
May I make a further comment?
Yes, go ahead, please.
That we actually turned back last year, I think 75,000 from dispatch. I mean,
Yes.
well, we took, I'm just saying, I don't think, That's all.
That was due to employee vacancies.
Well, that's fine. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry.
Okay, are we ready to vote? Total expenses? Oh, I'm sorry, total wages. I'm sorry. 721,641. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Me?
Aye.
And all abstain. Okay. Total expenses for dispatch, 5,500. Any discussion?
Me?
Go ahead, Ginny.
I'm sorry, but
No, don't.
just, I
Ginny,
apologize, but I
don't.
looked and people weren't getting allowances for clothing if that's contractual. If you put that in the contract, I'll change my mind, but if it's not, I'm not
sorry.
spending my money.
Which one was that?
I'm sorry.
It's line, I don't know which numbers you need, but it's 010021305554. Dispatch clothing allowance, and then after that, it has dispatch uniforms, so the total's $5,500. Was that contractual?
We have, yes. And the reason for the increase is that it is trying to set people up with a new set of items for this first year in the new contract. I believe that's correct.
So the
There was a
555.
long discussion about the dispatch. They have to sit in those, rooms for a long time, getting them to look professional but be comfortable, upgrading the clothing they have. And I believe that's why the clothing allowance is for the ongoing, and I think the uniform expenses for the setting up new employees. Is that right? Is it?
That's
Yeah, the mayor's
what I
nodding.
recall. I
Yeah.
recall that as well from
Yeah,
at least the explanation we got.
I can double check on it and email it to the council as well. So
I believe it was for new people. as
yeah.
well.
Okay. If there's no more discussion, we'll take a vote on it. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm going to abstain because somebody's going to give us some more information.
Okay, very good. So we have 4 in favor and 1 abstention. Okay. Thank you. Parking enforcement. Parking enforcement salary and wages, $67,752. Any discussion? Okay, we'll move.
I have concerns about that. I had raised them, and I'm going to abstain from this because, again, I still didn't get all the information that I wanted. And I think we should all be looking at a budget where we're spending $143,000 and 700 whatever to get $200,000. And the parking, I think we have to have parking, I guess, to some extent, but it does make this is not something that's going to make people happy, like having the fireworks. So I think it bears discussion. So I'm going to abstain because still I don't know things that I'd ask.
Okay. Is there any discussion? Any more discussion? Thank you, Councilor DeSorger. All those in favor of $67,752, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right, we have total expenses for parking enforcement, $76,000. Is there any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Me.
Okay, thank you. Now we have the Department of Inspections. We have building inspections. Okay, total wages are $220,155. Is there any discussion? Please shout out because I can't see all of you if you want to discuss. Okay, if not, we'll take a vote on $220,155 total wages for the Building Inspections Office. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. The total expenses in the Building Inspections Department is $8,300. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, we have weights and measures. That's total expense budget. It's $10,000. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Okay. We also have our Furcog inspection program. Total expense is $98,367. Are there any questions or any discussion? Okay. All those in favor of
Aye.
$98,367? Aye. I'm sorry, I'm a little late.
Aye.
All right.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Animal inspections, that is $3,000, and that is a wage. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, animal control officer, that pay is $27,909. Is there any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. And the expenses is $1,600 for the animal control budget. Any discussion? All those in favor? $1,600. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. We have emergency management. That's permanent salary and wage of $5,500. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Total expenses, $16,000 for emergency management. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. Moving on, we have Greenfield Public School. I'm going to look for a little guidance from Liz, but I think I know that we just vote this bottom line. And basically that's all we have the authority to do. We cannot reduce the school budget. We could reduce the operating budget and give money from the operating budget to the schools. That is what we are charged to do. Not charged to do. We don't have to do it, but that is our authority. But in this particular case, there isn't much that we can control in this budget. Okay, we will go bottom line in the total local budget for the Greenfield City Schools. It's $21,255,213. Any discussion? Okay. All right. All those in favor, please. Aye.
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 Okay. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. The technical school, the total wages and these are under wages. Wait a minute. I got to break this down a little bit. We have two technical schools here. We have Franklin County School for $1,328,809. And we have Smith Vocational School for $36,800. So the total wage for our technical school package assessments is $1,365,609. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. All right, now we have DPW Engineering. Let me just see how everybody's doing here, if I can. Okay. Okay, good. We've still got time. DPW Administration and Engineering, we have total wage in that department of $356,881. Is there any discussion? All right, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. Total expenses is $39,400. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right. City Yard, DPW City Yard expenses, $32,000. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. The DPW Highway Division, the total wages is $250,785. Any discussion? Okay. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Total expenses, $51,100. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Traffic Division, wages, $64,300. Anybody? Okay. Anybody, any discussion? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Total expenses for the DPW Traffic Division is $50,600. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right. DPW Service Division. We have total wage package of $320,000. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, carries. Total expenses, $192,380. This is for DPW Service Division. Well, this is for DPW, Service Division. $192,380. No discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. DPW landfill. Total expenses is $25,000. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? Any abstentions? DPW waste collection. Total wages $313,805. Any discussion? Okay. All in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Total, oh dear, excuse me. Total expenses, $85,210. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. DPW transfer station, Expenses is $41,500. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? DPW Parks Division, total wages, $492,410. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Total expenses, $76,869. Any discussion? Okay. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstained? Okay. We move on to DPW snow and ice removal. Total wages, $73,000. Discussion. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. Total expenses, $144,800 in snow and ice. Any discussion? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, we are good. Moving on to DPW Street Cleaning. These are total expenses, $37,000. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. DPW Trash Disposal. Total expenses, $395,000. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? DPW Cemetery. There's only expenses there. Expenses are $7,556. All those in discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. Okay, we are bound to Health Department at this point. That is on page 144 in the book, if you were following along with us. Total wages is $221,400. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Total expenses in the Health Department, $23,200. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. Council on Aging. Council on Aging, wage and salary line item, $157,704. Any discussion?
Discussion. I'm going to
Thank you,
vote in,
Councilor Jasorga. Go ahead. Thank you.
I'm going to be voting in favor of this. But I really think where we have 4,000 seniors, it was a shame that they requested a social service person and couldn't have that. That was just a comment, but I'm putting that in my vote, just putting it forward.
Okay. Are there any other comments or for discussion? Okay. All those in favor of 157,704 wages for Council on Aging? Aye.
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 Okay. Any opposed? Any abstentions? And total expenses for Council on Aging is $4,050. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? All right, Veteran Services, salary and wage line items, $238,777. Is there any discussion here? Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Okay, it's unanimous. And total expenses for the veterans budget is $291,333. Is there any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Okay, thank you. Youth Commission, its total expense line item is for $1,500. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Human Rights Commission, they have a total expense budget of $300. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Let's see, Commission on Disability Access. Total expenses, $300. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? There's Task Force Against Domestic Violence. Total expenses, $800. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Oh, opposed? Abstentions? Okay. Library. Library total wages are $608,000, $608,107. It's getting to be a long night. Any discussion? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. Total expenses for the library, $127,000. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any abstentions? Any objections? Thank you. Recreation Department budget, salary and wages.
Or just one straight line, isn't it?
Well, it's kind of all put into, it shouldn't be total expenses. It should be total salary and wages. Well, let's see here.
That's the
Council
only thing
Ford,
that they have.
as I recall, when she spoke,
Right.
would you like
Yes,
me to
please.
say something?
Yes, please.
She said that her whole budget there was, her whole budget was that. There's a revolving account also, but
Right.
just so you know.
So this is all wages. It's labeled all expenses, but it should be all wages. It's on page 156.
Mhm.
So the total wages is 206,728. Is there any discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. Historical Commission has an expense budget of $1,100, $1,100. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Okay. Let me just look here. There is no budget listed for Community Preservation Committee. I believe they are just starting up at this point, and we might be hearing from them sometime later. We are going into debt service now. Debt service, page 158. The total expenses in debt service is $1,545,000. Is there any discussion? Okay. All those in favor? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jenny.
Do we have to vote in favor of debts? Yes, we do.
We have to vote in
No,
favor of
I
everything that's
I
here.
was just trying to lighten this
Oh,
up.
I see. It was supposed to be
Yes.
funny. Hey, please excuse me. We're all getting a little punchy.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Again, we're voting on a debt service. It's $1,545,000. Is there any discussion?
Aye. Oh, no discussion.
Oh, okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Okay. All right. We are now on long-term debt interest. The total expenses are $901,334. Are there any, is there any discussion around this? Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed, any abstentions? Okay, we're going into short-term debt, short-term interest, excuse me. Short-term debt interest, total expenditure is $50,000. That's total expenses, $50,000. Any discussion?
Discussion, and that's because we're doing more borrowing this year, that it has gone up. Is
Okay.
that what everybody recalls? I'm
Yes.
asking my fellow counselors. Okay.
Yes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, abstentions. We're good. We have the Furcog assessment. That is $90,530. Is there any discussion? Okay. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Danny?
When you're
Danny?
done, we have just discovered there's a discrepancy way back on 129 in your book on the tech school assessment. So if you don't mind, I'm going to get the numbers and if you want to revisit that at the end, because I think there may have been the wrong chart inserted.
Okay.
Let me look for it.
Okay, thank you.
That does say fiscal year 2022, doesn't it? Right.
Yes, it does. It does. Okay. Good catch. Good catch. Okay, we will pause at the end and go back for that. Thank you. Okay. Contributory retirement. The total expenses for contributory retirement is $5,566,762. Is there any discussion? Okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. Thank you. Workers' Compensation Insurance Fund, total expenses, $395,000. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Unemployment benefits and unemployment insurance. This is a trust. This is a fund. $120,000. Is there any discussion?
I actually have discussion that was on all of these, but for next year, I had asked something of Liz Gilman, and I guess it was harder than to figure out than I thought. But where we have a couple of departments that have enterprise funds, I wouldn't want anybody to do anything at the last minute. But for next year, I think that we should get, if it's possible, to get a breakdown on any department that has part of their department's benefits are in an enterprise fund and part of it are not. I think it would be, you're shaking your head no? Danny's shaking her head no. I just thought it might be a good idea because I would like to see that.
I'm not responding to you. I'm still looking for that other document. Sorry.
Okay.
I'll shut off my camera.
Oh, no, that's okay. I thought, I just think it would be wise for us to know so that we're actually looking at this, the retirement, all of the fringe benefits so that we know, because I think when you have, you know, 40% of one budget that's in an enterprise fund, I'm going to vote in favor of these, but I'm bringing it up now while we're on camera.
Okay. Thank you for your comment. Back to a vote. Total expenses for unemployment, $120,000. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Employee health insurance. The total expenses for employee health insurance is $8,372,520. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, me, Chris Jarvis. I'll be
Go ahead.
abstaining on this because I benefit from it. And I also wanted to abstain on the contributory retirement also because I benefit from that also.
And I have to recuse myself as well. So thank you. Is it okay for me to even be involved in reading this?
Oh, thanks.
Okay.
Fine.
Okay, all right. I'm just checking. Okay. All right, so let's go back to total expenses for employee health insurance, which does also include retiree supplemental health insurance. The total is $8,372,520. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Okay. Employee life insurance. Total expenses, $124,000. There any discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Okay,
Abstention, Jarvis.
okay. Medicare insurance. This is a Medicare city match. Total is $489,600. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, liability insurance. Total expenses, $630,225. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. Think we're on to our enterprise funds. That is on page 173. It's a sewer enterprise fund operating budget.
Question.
Go ahead.
I just want to check with Liz again on this. The sewer enterprise fund is totally funded by water and sewer charges?
Just sewer.
Sewer.
The sewer.
I know we're on sewer right now. I'm just going to ask once to save you all time. Are both of those totally, I just wanted to go over that in my head again.
Yep, you're muted.
Yes, the goal for water and sewer, they pay their debt service, they pay all their employee fringe benefits, they pay their insurance on vehicles, they pay workers' comp, they pay, they may not be charged, unemployment's a different animal. But for the most part, water and sewer are pretty darn good at paying, covering all their expenses through the user rates.
And then have retained earnings also, so they.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, okay. So I just wanted to make sure as we were voting this budget, and we also have, just to go over this is one of the more complicated parts I find. Thank you.
Chris, if I may.
Yes, please.
I know that I'm kind of probably the nexus why we broke this up into every expense line as opposed to going off of a grand total. I was just, maybe I should have suggested this way earlier. If there wasn't any discussion on a certain thing, could we go to just a grand total? I don't know. I mean, again, rules of procedure. I don't know how that's supposed to work. Unfortunately, one of the debatable ones came up a little bit early. And so I think maybe, I don't know, if you've had to say a lot more words than maybe you would have.
Okay.
So my apologies for maybe opening Pandora's box.
I do think, and I would defer to Liz on this, but I do think we have to vote it that particular way at this particular time in order for us to get it out to council floor, because I think it will be voted that way as well on council floor. Not certain. Liz, can it just go bottom line?
Yes,
If there's nothing to discuss?
yes, it can.
Okay, okay. So I guess we're doing a favor for the council at this point because we have vetted all of these and the unanimous recommendations can basically just speed along. Is that helpful, Mike?
Yeah, I feel like maybe I should have said that sooner.
We're good. Okay, we are at 8 o'clock. So we've been at it for 2 hours. We just have a little bit more to go. Mike, I have a question for you, Liz. When we go into, when we're looking at the sewer enterprise operating budget, we're not approving the revenue, are we?
No, you do not
Okay.
approve or appropriate or vote on revenue.
On
I just
revenue.
have it there for you to see.
Yes, okay.
And I also put the rates up there so that you can see what rate is being proposed.
Right. Okay. So we're going to move to 174 now. We're going to go right down this list. I guess maybe in the interest of, is there anybody who has any questions on the sewer budget? The sewer enterprise fund. If there are any questions, so we won't go down every single line item, we'll just do a total, unless somebody's got something of interest in, for instance, if you want to talk about the sewer pumping station or something like that, for instance. Otherwise, what I'm hearing is that we could go ahead and just vote this as a bottom line budget. Does anybody have any questions? Is that okay, Liz? Is that technically okay? Does it meet the legal?
When you voted on council floor, you do break out the indirects, but I have it written right on the fringe, right on the financial order, what you're voting to raise and appropriate and what you're voting to be paid as indirects.
Okay.
But
So-
it equals the bottom line.
Got it.
That's
So,
what I'm-
okay. So legally, we can just vote bottom line.
Yeah,
Okay.
for now, for this
now,
particular,
On council floor, it'll be different.
yes.
Okay. All right. Is that okay with all members of Ways and Means? Okay. All right. That's great. So on page 178, we have a grand total sewer enterprise fund of $3,009,285. That's $3,009,282. I'm sorry, 2. I think I said 5. $3,009,282. Is there any discussion on any part of this budget that someone would like to have? Okay. If there is no discussion, then I will ask for a vote. All in favor of the total sewer enterprise fund? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, we will move on to water. Water Enterprise Fund. The grand total is on page 185. If there's anything in this that you wish to discuss, let me know. If not, we will go ahead and vote on the grand total Water Enterprise Fund, $2,102,147. Is there any discussion? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, we are moving on to GSET Enterprise Fund. Again, the bottom line grand total for the GSET Enterprise Fund is $2,042,234. Is there any question that anybody has on any part of this budget? Okay, I hear none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. I think we're done. Don't look stunned.
I apologize for possibly inadvertently belaboring the process.
No, it was very helpful because it pointed out where we're going to have a few discussions on council floor. So I think that's perfectly fine. If there is, I was trying to put together another meeting for Monday in case we failed to get through our business this evening. That will not be necessary. I'll let the clerk's office know tomorrow morning.
Chris, did we do ambulance? I'm just going over in my head. Did we miss it?
Revolving funds.
They're revolving funds.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
We needed to go back to the tech school thing, didn't
The
we?
tech school, yes. That was going to be my other thing.
Very good. Good
I
memory.
had 2 questions and those were it.
I have it. I
You
know
have it, Liz? Good,
Yes.
okay.
So
What page?
129.
129.
So what was on there and what you read was the current year's numbers.
Okay.
You can see that on 129.
Okay.
So the tech school is actually, if anybody could write this down.
Yep.
1,283,883, and then Smith Voc is down to 20,000. So the
Even.
grand total is 1,303,883.
Thank you.
I just want to confirm that the tech
Yep.
school is 1,283,883.
Yep.
Smith Voc is 20. Total is 1,303,883.
That's what I'm reading. Yep.
Okay.
We can correct that on the document that's on the site for later, but sorry about that.
No, that's okay. That's perfect.
I just didn't want it being read that way. That's all.
Okay. I think we need to vote on this.
Yeah.
It is corrected, so we need to have a vote to accept the figure. So let's just go back to 129. The total wages, the total assessment, let's put it this way. The total assessment for the tech schools, both of them, is 1,303,883. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, to the adjusted figure, we're good to go. There won't be any meeting on Monday. You can rest assured that we did all our work this evening, which is great. Everybody dance. I like that. Our next meeting, I believe, I'm sorry, I don't have it in front of me right here, but our next meeting is can somebody look at our agenda? Because my computer my other computer
Should be
just.
May 17th.
Okay, and that is at 6 p.m., May 17th. That is right before our council meeting. That's the day before our council meeting. We do have some business that we have to deal with. Normal business, not necessarily budget business. And so, and then we will be moving on to council vote, and we look forward to that. So before we disband this evening, I want to take an opportunity to tell you how happy I am to have worked with all of you. I know that it hasn't been easy. I know that we get tired and punchy, but you're great to work with. It's really been my privilege. And hopefully I'll see you next year. But if not, I hope all the lessons have been learned that can be this year. And I do appreciate your dedication to the citizens of Greenfield. And Ways and Means is a difficult job. It's difficult to understand it. It's difficult to get through. So thank you all very much for all your help and your input. I really do appreciate everyone. So thank you again. We are ready for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay, a motion from Jarvis, a second I need.
Second that. Toronzo.
That's Toronto. Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Anybody want to discuss it? Okay, thank you. The meeting ends at 8:11 this evening. Thank you all so much. I really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Good job.
Got a good product here. Thank you.
Nice job.